Welcome to Show G's recommendations, like, comment, and like so you won't waste money. Didn't Shogu say in the spyware episode that he wanted to do a separate episode about this Xlog? So today he came. And it's a dual material comparison review, so let's get to the conclusion first. Among the metal dual releases already released in the EDC community, this piece is the smallest in size, lightest in weight, and the tightest in the hand with a springy texture. What can you do? So what kind of force stick does it rely on? We'll talk as we take it apart. Speaking of every EDC toy review, I always like it. First, we need to talk about structure. On the other hand, only by looking beyond appearances can one see the essence. You need to view a work from a designer's perspective. Only then can you calmly analyze and judge this issue. Is it really worth spending real money to buy it? So his final return is to keep it for fun all the time. Whether you want to pick up secondhand or secondhand products, you can draw conclusions from this analysis structure. If you only want the appearance and gameplay, then there's no depth. Step back. Moreover, this is Nico's work, which is even more worth my careful study. So, for the structural explanation, I hope everyone can patiently read through. After seeing so much, it's all foggy. Gradually, you can also be an assistant and play a push card, right? The EDC community needs a flourishing diversity, not a single dominant player. If an industry has only one leader for a long time, problems will arise sooner or later. Okay, now you can clearly see that this Xlock has two C-shaped outer rings. One central pillar, 2 pins, 4 wire position screws, and the embedded ones here. The 16N52 strong deaths make up a total of 25 parts. From Nico's design draft, you can see that this stainless steel center column. He may seem like a strong warrior, but in reality, his body has been completely drained. Afraid she could never give him steady happiness again. Let me tell you about a memory of transmitting a computer on the computer floor back in school. The first thing to confirm is the CPU, because the CPU is the core. Should you buy Intel or AMD models, right? Then add the motherboard, memory, graphics card, and hard drive to fit the overall budget. This double push can keep the volume so small and have such a strong sense of segments. It also definitely needs to first determine the dimensions of a core object. That is this magnet. Nico decided to adopt this from the very beginning. N52 is a strong word with a diameter of 4 mm and a thickness of 3 mm. Then, according to the diameter and thickness of the magnet, then determine the length, width, and height of the central column. You can see this even more clearly from the instant noodle chart. The inside was already packed full of lamps. On this end, both sides share the same phase. 6 magnets and 6 at the other end as well. That way you get 12 wall magnets. And with these 2 pinholes, it can be said that while ensuring the metal's strength, the volume has been reduced to the extreme. As for the projection face of the central pillar, it's actually a square. Let me measure it. The height is about 47.44 millimeters, which is nearly 47 millimeters. The cube is basically around 8.05 centimeters. Once the dimensions of the central column are determined, the 2 C-shaped outer rings are also confirmed. You can see that besides these logos on the outer ring, it's these rings of knife patterns, not a bit of unnecessary design. Schwoke thinks these knife patterns are actually practical, a model combined with refined aesthetics. Aesthetically speaking, these fine lines make the originally small shape look even more refined. At the same time, visually, it appears more elongated. After all, wearing these long and thin black stockings definitely makes her heavier than those with short feet. It looks even more tempting. From a practical perspective, this stepped knife pattern is basically chamfering. When playing with it, the thumb looks like this, essentially placed in the groove. The index and middle fingers are the 2 grooves placed on the opposite side. This way, when the fingers swipe with force, it provides a certain amount of friction. You won't let go easily. This greatly enhances the sense of security and comfort. We all know that conventional sliding panels install primary magnets on 2 main plates. During the sliding process, repulsive force is generated, causing the 2 main pieces to collide, produces sound and a sense of passage. The larger the magnet, the greater the distance between them, the stronger the sense of passage. Although this double push is also a magnet toy, But the collision process is completely different from a regular push-and-row sliding game. It first involves installing 2 magnets on the C-ring to provide the management of the sliding center column. After repeated printing tests, to enhance the sense of paragraphs, Nico has added a reverse magnet between the 2 same-tier magnets on the center pillar. Chile had a collision. Where did it come from? You can see that these 2 C-rings are positioned from 90 degrees on the center pillar, although there is still some or reserve. But it definitely only causes the C-circle to collide with the center post in this way. And if the frame volume is too large, the gameplay will definitely feel loose and sloppy. So how do you solve it? And so, this most important component comes into play. It's this fiber screw. You can see that this screw cap is not the common straight pattern, or cross-shaped flowers, which are too common and seem low-end, nor does it fit the brand tone of the old blacksmith. And this shape is placed next to the magnet. It doesn't look out of place. Nico also cleverly hollowed out part of the outer ring. The movable space of the screw is clamped and impacted. All come from the screw cap and the hollowed-out ends. Of course, when closed, the end of the central column is on the inner side of the outer ring. Actually, it endures more forceful and crisp sounds. This is basically due to this collision. Therefore, after long-term repeated use, the strength of this screw is a real test. To prevent loosening when leaving the factory, these 4 screws have already been fitted to Letty's 36 screws. Brother Jiaosho shares from personal experience that unless absolutely necessary, don't take it apart or reassemble it too often. After removing and installing these screws more than 3 times, the screw adhesive basically loses its fixing strength. The consequence is that the screw is bent when bending. It will loosen without anyone noticing. If you completely lose it and fall off, it's fine, you can ask for after-sales medicine. The only worry is that if the screw loosens halfway, the impact force is too strong. This causes screw snake to be inside the mid-lane. So I also brought a bottle of Loctite 263 screw glue. This strength is even higher than the original factory glue. After keeping it for a while, other EDC toys can also be used. That collision problem was solved. Another issue is fixation. Because just this one-line position, screws cannot guarantee the repulsion of magnets that move in a straight line when the outer ring moves. It will make it shake like this while moving. So, these 2 pins come into play. First, drill the hole directly on the central column and drill the staggered hole. At the same time, the inner side of the outer ring is slotted to serve as the moving space for these 2 pins. So when you play with it, the movement trajectory of the outer ring and center column is completely aligned in a straight line. This hollowed-out central pillar can be fully immersed. The thrill of colliding with the outer ring in and out. We know that beading is a specialty of Lao Taixiong House. Brother Shu even asked Niku, why not inlay beads on the central column? Then, make a half-curved groove on the outer ring. This also serves as a fixation, and it looks more upscale. Nico said, this solution is more difficult to process. Moreover, prolonged vibration may cause the beads to fall off. The 2-pin solution is easier to maintain and less costly. This shows Nico's design prowess and structural functionality. Gameplay, the exterior production costs and after-sales maintenance are comprehensive. To increase the fun of DIY for players, there is also a groove reserved above this magnet. You can continue to add magnets to enhance magnetism. Here's a detail. The groove is high on one side is low so it can secure the magnet installed above. If you want to take it off, just pry it off with your hand. I have to say, Nicole, who came from a flying shell class with a design background, can she really have so many clever ideas? It's truly admirable. Here, you can also chat with newbies for a quick gossip. Nico used to work in the banking system. Her main job is also far removed from the world. It was all about talent and passion. Step by step, he becomes a scumbag. I was wrong. Step by step, he became one of the best original designers in China. It has also designed classic works for many brands in the industry. Of course, this also involves the combination of 2 strong ingredients with the keen eye of Lao Tai. That's how we now have the #1 EDC brand in China. Lao Tai Elephant's products are not only popular domestically but also abroad, as well as highly sought after. This can be seen as a reverse cultural export of EDC, the Bolai pin. I remember one time at 4 a.m., most people were still dreaming, still in their prime. I opened this Instagram, seeing my buddies still online. I suspect they are also negotiating sales business with some foreign partners. So, the more outstanding a person is, the harder they work. This drive should become a role model for us young people to learn from. Praise aside, nobody's perfect, and a work is never perfect. Let me first talk about a few flaws in what I think are the X-Lock. First up is this gougy. Prolonged impact can cause the surface blackened layer to peel off. The spot on Skinny Brother's hand was already exposed. He wasn't sure if he could see clearly. Every time I disassemble it, I use this cotton swab. When you wipe it, you always wipe off a pile of black residue. This is definitely a blessing for cleanliness obsession and OCD. Then there are Nakaki scratches. This is fine because any toy that comes into contact with it will get scratched after playing with it for a long time. Besides, when closed, you can't see through the eyes. Not seeing one, the heart is not troubled. Finally, there's the amount of in fact, with CNC machining precision, this amount of could be much smaller. But Nito has one consideration. If you fall to the ground, and if you drop it hard, it may cause deformation. If the ore supply is too small, it won't be able to move. Of course, the current mine volume is still acceptable. It's not so loose and sloppy to play. Next, let's talk about stainless steel. The one in Shoji's hand is a sample. So there's a problem that many players criticize. It's the feeling of finding employment. How should I put it? There is a mushroom that, after being dried, and it smelled moldy, compared to the scent, bronze and brass smell nice. Skinny Brother communicated with the old blacksmith's customer service. The current product manufacturing process has already improved. The flavor has already been minimized. In fact, the old blacksmith is fully capable of handling this problem, for example. Stainless steel frost is almost scentless. Another example is Wrap Fusion 2.0, which has no flavor at all. Can be said that this piece is currently owned by the old blacksmith. Among stainless steel materials, the highest grade gray. It looks a lot like the tourmaline gray of the BMW C36. The surface finish is very smooth, but unlike the Gaopa, it doesn't pick up fingerprints. I sincerely hope that in the future all stainless steel works will be handled this way. I know this kind of handling definitely takes a long time. The cost is also higher, but as a blacksmith you have to cast iron. Players will notice every detail of the upgrades. So if you support my suggestion, please throw the word upgrade into the comments. Finally, let me explain the comparison and how to use these two materials. The advantage of Gao alloy is that it opens and closes very smoothly and efficiently. There's no feeling of mud or water, and the sound is crisper. Because the shape of the outer ring resembles a tuning fork when closed, occasionally there are bell-like overtones that sound very pleasant. Of course, if you want to make that sound, you can't add magnets again, and after adding them, the high alloy drawbacks won't appear. As mentioned above, it's not a big problem. Although this material is now discontinued, however, the secondary market still offers brand new unsplit units, and the prices are decent. Stainless steel might be due to surface treatment. When pushed, it is slipperier than high alloy alloys. That tiny bit of texture can also feel a bit softer, especially in slow push. Visibly bouncy and bouncy. Also, when closed, occasionally skipping segments occurs. After all, this stainless steel has been rubbed against so many magnets for a long time. Inevitably, over time, feelings will develop and become slightly magnetized. However, stainless steel is 220 yuan cheaper than Gao alloy. With that money saved, you can add a bit more and buy a new toy. So stainless steel is still very cost-effective. Give it a try, it's a lot of fun. At the beginning, during the immersive unboxing, everyone also saw the birthday song. At first, the law enforcement didn't even play with it. But this one is easy to pick up. You can learn it in just 1 minute with me. First, use your index and middle fingers to pinch one end. Then, the fingers each hold these 2 points of force. The thumb naturally presses right here. Then, straighten the force to the point of application and push it open. Next comes the key point. The force point beneath the middle finger fluctuates to create rotation. Then, with these 3 fingers circling around to hold it, close it like this. Note that during the rotation, your thumb and index finger are pinching him. It is the one who holds him back. This way, there is no risk of dropping. Okay, after closing it, the index finger naturally circles forward. Knock it down. During the process of toppling, the index finger and thumb also hold it tightly so it won't fall off. After it fully lies flat, press your thumb against it and push it away. This creates a complete cycle. Once you become proficient, you'll get really hooked. Even after playing this position for a long time, it won't cause joint soreness. It doesn't use the same force as traditional pushing and draining it. Basically, it's just a thumb that has been used for a long time. This joint, especially this joint, can be uncomfortable. This enforcement is as effective as possible. All 5 fingers got involved. The most important requirements for magnet-type works are that they will not disintegrate. 2. Gameplay 3. After playing for a long time, your hands won't get tired. The 4 sections have a strong sense of rhythm and a crisp sound. 5. Suitable weight and easy to carry. All of these requirements are met. Then it's a great work worth spending money on. Although Xlog is not the first domestic work to be promoted twice, fortunately it is relatively inexpensive. Compact size and lightweight. The structure is simple, making it easier for new players to accept. You could say the old blacksmith has pushed both with this work. Structured toys became popular. Although small, it is very good at hitting the stick, which is a good example.